Hey, this is Russ. Yeah, I got another bike to show you guys today. This one's a little rugged. Let me show you what it looks like. Yeah, look at this one. You might say, hey, I've seen this bike before. Maybe as the Cobra, but this one is called the Himiway D7. Now, what is a D7? Well, the D7 was based on the Cobra, but it's got a lot of upgraded components. So, yeah, this one came in, I think a couple weeks ago. I've had commitments, had to do other things, but yeah, I finally got around to doing it. I've ridden the bike for a while now, kind of get a feel for it, see what it can do for me, see what it can do for you. All right. So what is the D7? Well, the D7 is essentially an off-road bike. If you want to take this out on the trails, this is the kind of bike that you're going to want. Now you go, well, it's a typical 26-inch by 4-inch fat tire, right? No, it's not. It's 26-inch by 4.5-inch fat tires. It's even bigger. And the treads are designed specifically to do off-roading. Now you might look at it and say, well, Russ, you don't go off-road. Yeah, I know I don't. I stay on the streets mostly and paved paths, right? But yeah, this one, you wouldn't have a problem to do it though. I've ridden it on the grass, thicker grass, but on the grass. And I've not had any issues riding this thing that way. I've had people in my way had to go up on the grass. And I don't have any fears. So what does a D7 actually have? Well, I'm going to give you all the specs real quickly here. Then we'll take it out for a ride and we'll do the hill test on it. I've already done the hill test before. It does really well. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So the D7, of course, has lithium-ion batteries. It is integrated right here. And there's a lock on the other side and a little switch thing over here where you can just go ahead and turn that, and that'll drop out the battery. But it is a 48-volt, 20-amp-hour battery. The controller is a 48-volt, 30-amp controller. Okay, the maximum load that you can put on this bike is 400 pounds. Now that kind of reminds me of my Zebra, my Himiway Zebra. That handles a lot of weight too. So does this one. You know, these are made very well and very big. So what is the bike weight? 88.6 pounds with the battery. So it is not a lightweight bike at all. Rider height, they recommend 5'3" to 6'5". I can believe the 6'5". I don't know about the 5'3". I mean, you do have a step over height to have to think about. If you're only 5'3", you may not have the clearance once you hop off the bike, but that's what they claim. And the standover height actually is 30.7 inches. So you'll need to think about that. The torque, this is a torque sensor on this bike, okay? So as you pedal harder, the motor will respond accordingly, right? Now, one thing I did notice as I was riding the bike, as I'm pedaling and as I'm throttling, there is a slight delay that happens. So it's not an instantaneous reaction. It's kind of a, I don't know, 1 or 2 seconds delay before it actually occurs. Now, I've asked Himiway about this. I'm still waiting an answer for it. But I don't know whether in the menu of the display, whether you can change that or not, but there is a slight delay, so that you know that. Some people like this because then it doesn't kind of jerk them. They kind of know it's coming and then it kicks in, okay? The torque of the motor itself is 87 Newton meters. So this is why we kind of expect going over the hills and the like should not be a problem. I kind of expected it would be something like that because the motor had been upgraded from the Cobra. The motor is 1,000 watts now, okay? I think the older Cobra was only 750 watts. Now, there's a couple of things that are different here. If you take a look at the front fork, you may say, well, there's nothing as far as suspension. Oh yeah, there is. It's right down here. It is a inverted front air fork, okay? So if you take a look at the fork itself, it is slightly different than your typical fork, right? And so we're talking about that too, let's take a look at this thing here, okay? There is a rear suspension as well. I don't know if this is a good angle. Let me see, go around the other way. Maybe the sun is a little bit better here. This is also ear suspension, all right? There's 4 points of contact here, so it's kind of unique. So ear rear suspension, inverted ear front forks, all right? The tires are made by Kenda, and like I said, it's 26-inch by 4.5 inches. It does feel different. As I'm riding this, even on the pavement, I can feel that as I'm turning, it feels different than my other 4-inch fat tire bikes. So it's something you need to be aware of. The Shimano trigger shifters are up here too. This is an 8-speed system. Trigger shifters make it a lot easier to me than the SIS system. So, you know, as you're dealing with it, you have a downshifter here with your thumb, and here by your index finger, there is the upshifter, all right? And then, of course, that means we have Shimano equipment back down over here. This is the Shimano Acera derailleur. And of course, Shimano gears back there too. Now they changed a couple things as well, as far as the crank is concerned. The chain ring is now 40T. You may wonder, why is it 40T? Everyone's going higher. Well, they changed the freewheel to 11 to 48T. You might be asking, do I feel any type of ghost pedaling on here? I have not at this point. So again, I don't have the strongest leg as some other people, and so maybe you would, but I have not had any issue with it at all. So yeah, there's significant upgrades. The motor got upgraded, the fork and rear suspension got upgraded. The shock absorber too in the front is 120 millimeters. Just so that you know, I kind of neglected to say that it's 120 millimeters. And the disc brakes, these are, of course, Tektro hydraulic brakes on here. And I'll just take it from this side here. You can see down there is the rotor. That's a 203 millimeter rotor down there. In the back, you have 180. Swing around here. That's 180. So 203 in the front, 180 in the back. I think that pretty much covers most of the components up on the top. Let's take a look at the handlebar area here. Now I added some things, as you know I always do. I added a side view mirror. Okay, let me turn this on real quick here. The display screen shows us a lot of information. Okay, so you have the battery, what's left on your battery. Your pedal assist number is over here. You have your speedometer over here. You can get the average speed. You can get your maximum speed. You can get the current speed. There's trip meters on here for your odometer. There's the standard odometer. I've ridden at 27 miles now. And so you have a lot of information. It is black and white. It's very bright, so you don't have any problems being able to see this with your sunglasses on. And I have not had any issue with the sunglasses that are polarized, so everything seems to be fine on here. All right. Here's trip time too, how long you've been doing it. I did move this a little bit because I have the side view mirror here. I moved the pedal assist controller this way. I wanted to give a little more space for my thumb so that I could have a little more space to put my thumb there. So you can, when you get it, it comes closer, but I moved it forward. And then the grips are kind of like BMX style bike type grips, but they are locking grips, which is good. Standard bell on here. I left the bell. This bell is actually pretty loud, so I decided to leave this one. I have a lot of space on this handlebar, so I don't worry too much about having to get a low profile type bell on it. Yeah, now you might also notice too the look of the bike. It has a carbon fiber look to it. It's kind of like an overlay that goes over it. And down here, I know the last year's model, some people were saying that, you know, your chain can hit this. They put an applique over here so that it doesn't have the ability to scratch up the entire paint. So they've listened to the users of the Cobra and upgraded things. All right. Nice bike. Now the rack is optional, and I did ask them for the rack. The tail light that they give you is not connected to the system. Let me see if I can turn this one on. Kind of hard to see on camera, but it is on. It is a battery thing. It's a couple AAAs in there. But the rack is optional. I did put it on there. I will tell you that the rack mount has like square holes, and it would not fit the included hex screws. So what I did is I just went out to Home Depot and bought a couple of washers and put the washers in front of it. Perfectly fine. Easy fix, no problem. All right. How's the saddle? Saddle is one I've seen on the Zebra before. Yeah, this is their standard saddle that they tend to use all the time. It's a good saddle. I don't see the need to change it. I'm perfectly fine with it. Not as cushy as some others, but yeah, there's definitely give here, right? So it's nice and wide for me, so I'm fine with it. Front headlight, of course, is included, and that is in the system. Okay, so that is not just battery power, that's connected to the internal battery of the bike. The display screen down on the bottom, I know you can't see it, but there is a USB-C connector here. So if you need to connect up your phone for charging, you do have the ability to do that on the display screen. All right, is that everything? I love this. I'll put some riding footage for you a little bit later so you can see how that works as I'm bouncing on it, just so you can see how the suspension is. Suspension feels good. You can adjust it, obviously, because it is an air shock in the front and the back. So yeah, totally customizable. All right, let's take it out for a ride and see how it does. All right, let's see how this bike reacts. Thumb throttle is on the left-hand side because you do have trigger shifters on the right-hand side. Anytime the bikes have trigger shifters, typically you'll find throttles on the left. It's perfectly fine, just got to get used to it. Some people are just used to the right side, but I have many bikes and they kind of vary now. They go between left and right. Like I said, this is a torque sensing bike, so as you pedal harder, the motor will react more. All right. Morning. Good. How are you guys? Thank you. Yeah, they like my bike. The thing is with this bike, it does grab a lot of attention. I've noticed every time I ride past somebody, everyone kind of sits and stares at it. But that's to be expected. It's a big bike, right? All right. Let me show you some riding footage. So the thing that I've noticed is the throttle does have a slight delay. The pedaling has a slight delay to it. Like I said, some people like that. Others prefer an immediate response. I'm sure there's probably some way to actually change that. I just don't know how to do it. I did ask Himiway, is there a way to increase the speed? When you get the bike, it comes out as a Class 2 bike. So it is 20 miles per hour throttled, 20 miles per hour pedaled. Well, I changed that, of course. I moved it up to 28 miles per hour pedaled and 28 miles per hour throttled. So I'm a little bit more used to that, to have a little bit more speed, a little more power to it. But it is up to you if you want to do that or not. We'll show how to do that in a future video. But yeah, it's done within the menu of the display screen. And so yeah, I'm able to take this to 28 miles per hour at this point, both ways. Overall, I feel that the bike is a lot of wind hitting me here now. Can't hear myself. The bike has a nice feel because it's got the air suspension on the front and the back. Now you can make that tighter if you want. You can make it looser based on how much air you pump in. These things do need special types of compressors to do it. I think many bike shops would have that. You may have to bring it to a bike shop to have it adjusted for you if you want to change it. Alright, guys are cutting grass here, so that's why we're hearing all the noise. Let's see if anyone's coming on the cars here. Oh, somebody's stopping for me, so that's good. Thank you. Sometimes the cars will not stop, but other times cars will see you there and they'll stop and let you through. Alright, as we're heading towards the hill test, I'll tell you already, I've already done the hill test before. I'm going to see if we can match it or beat it at this point. So when I took it over the hill by myself, I was able to get 13.2 miles per hour over the hill, and it was pretty much effortless for the bike to get over it. That's expected because we have good torque on the motor. It's 87 Newton meters. But again, this is a fairly heavy bike, so it's going to take a little bit more effort to get it moving. If they use the smaller motor, of course, it might be a little bit tougher. And of course, the original Cobra has the smaller motor, so you might have a little bit of difference there. You know, the price difference between the Cobra and this new D7 is not that great. What is the price on this bike? $23.95, I believe. $22.95, $23.95. I'll put a graphic up. I keep forgetting. And I think the Cobra is only a couple $100 less expensive. Here's what I'm going to tell you, okay? If you have an option between the two and you've got the funds to be able to get the D7, do the D7. Yeah, why would you not? Do the D7. You're gonna have a more powerful motor. You've got upgraded components on there. It's worth it. So anyway, when Himiway asked me if I would be interested in getting another bike to try out, this is the one I picked. Now, you might be wondering why. He says, Russ, you don't go off on the trails and things like that. Why would you need a bike like this? Hey, because I want it. Yeah, I've always told you that I've liked the fat tire bikes, right? I said, I want to see what this thing does. You know, it's a little bit bigger. It's 4.5 inch instead of 4 inch. Do I feel any difference? And yeah, I do feel a difference. I feel a difference in how it reacts when I turn and everything. So, so is it really necessary for the type of riding I do? Well, maybe not, but hey, why not? I mean, I like the idea of the suspension, and when I saw it's got air suspension in the front and the back, I go, that's the one for me. I'm gonna have to try that one out, right? So Himiway was kind enough to give it to me, and they said, sure, no problem, you know. I said, well, give me a rear rack too, because I'm gonna need to carry things. All right, we're here for the hill test. So the way we do this again is we stop here at the end of the bridge. We're at 0, okay? Pedal assist level is at 5, but it doesn't matter because we're gonna be using the throttle only to go up here. Now, what's gonna happen is it's gonna go up in speed, and then it's gonna start to drop, okay? Let's see what it does. Now, I do have it at the 28 mile per hour setting, so I expect this might actually do even better than the 13.2, but I'll tell you right off the bat, at 20 miles per hour on the standard setting, I got 20 miles per hour, got 13.2 miles per hour going over the hill. So let's see how it goes. So let's go. All right, so I'm watching the display. We're at 19, 20, 19.9. All right, we're gonna start dropping pretty soon here. 17, 16, 15, 15.4, 14, 13.2, 12.9, 12.9. So actually moving it up to 28 miles per hour did not do anything for it as far as throttling going up this hill. In fact, we even lost a few points there too. Now things could be different. Wind could be different. Let's try it one more time. I'm just curious to see. You know, the thing is, if you were to move your bike a little bit like this, that could affect it. You know, if you stay straight, it could be a different story, right? Let's try one more time. I want to see if I can get that 13.2 out of this thing. All right, go down the hill here. Now that's still pretty respectable considering how heavy this bike is and how we're doing the ride. Now, somebody mentioned on the last review that I did, he said, well, if you lost weight, doesn't that change the results of the hill test? Yeah, I guess it technically could. I mean, most people don't really care that much how much the hill test is, as long as it can go over the hill with no issues. But again, you know, we do it just for information purposes, right? Okay, let's do it again. All right. So again, I'm watching the speedometer, throttling only, trying to keep it as straight as I can. We're at 20.6, 20.7, 20.6. All right, we're starting to drop now. 17, 16, 15.8, 14, 13.8, 13.4, 13.2. There you go. 13.2, so we match it again. Yeah, it really depends on you know, how you ride. You know, if you're turning a little bit, if you got a little bit of wind hitting you, it'll change it a little bit. You know, it's not going to be exactly the same all the time. But yeah, we did pretty good on this one. 13.2, that's very respectable. Okay, yeah, what is my weight and height and all that stuff? Okay, 5'10". Current weight as of this morning, 238. And I said it always goes up and down a pound or so with 238. And I'm 65 years old for those who are curious. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll go through the forest preserve this time. I had mentioned that I wasn't going to do it once cicadas came out. I haven't heard any of the cicadas lately, so let's go through. This area has trails as well, but I don't usually take the trails. Should we take a trail? Yeah, let's take a trail. Yeah, it's a first for the Russ's Ride channel, huh? Yeah, we got some gravel and stuff here. Let's see where this goes. But yeah, overall, doing something like this is not a problem for a bike like this. Again, I'm not blasting through here, although some people do. It's a matter of your confidence level, you know, but I don't typically do it. Now, I could take all the other bikes on these things too, if I wanted to, but I haven't in the past. I've been on gravel trails before. I think even up in Wisconsin when we've done some rides up there, been on some gravel as well. I think as the year goes on, we would hear nothing but cicadas coming through here. I don't hear them yet, so they haven't emerged. Some of them have. The one bike ride that we did, we were able to hear some, but right now I don't hear anything. So yeah, so what do I think of this Himiway D7? I like it. I like it. It's definitely a head turner. People look at it all the time. I think what grabs a lot of attention too is that applique that they have on top of the metal. Kind of looks like carbon fiber. It is not, of course. They do a good job with it though. It looks really nice. And like I said, it's a big beefy bike. It's huge. So that's why I wonder a little bit about the 5'3" size for a person. I mean, once you stop and you have to get off of the bike, it's going to you're going to have to worry about the clearance, you know, for step over height. All right, let's take it up a little bit here. Pedal a little bit too. I was throttling that entire time. Let's pedal a little bit. The torque sensor is very responsive, but I said it does have a little delay initially, so you need to be aware of that. Yeah, I don't know where this takes us. We'll find out though. Usually out in the forest preserve here, we usually see deer and the like. I have not seen any deer this year yet. The other day, I almost ran over a squirrel. He came close. I think I missed him by a couple of inches. Yeah, be careful of squirrels. Others have said little gerbils or whatever come running out too. I don't know what those things are. Chipmunks. There you go, not gerbils. All right. Anyway, I won't keep you guys. I just wanted to say that thank you to Himiway for sending me this bike. It is something different than what I normally would take, but I would say I can definitely feel that I can take off-road if I wanted to and not feel like my bike won't be able to handle it. I'm definitely sure that this can. Overall response is really good. Torque sensor works well. Yeah, kind of hard to beat. All right, I think it brings us back out to where the cars are here. Well, anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I'll talk to you guys next time. All right, we're still out here on the trail. A little muddy over here. Let's see, how do we get around this? Let's get over here this side. There we go. Back onto some gravel here. Yeah, this is something we typically don't see on the Russ's Ride channel, huh? I think the thing is when you have a bike that can handle stuff, you tend to give things a try, right? See if you can do it. And yeah, so far I'm doing it. Yeah, I've never gone through this part of the forest preserves where we're actually in the forest preserve. I mean, paved area is one thing, but coming out here is a different story. So yeah, the D7 seems to handle this very well. You do need to be careful of mud. I've noticed that, you know, when you're going over some muddy areas, you do have a tendency to maybe slide out. And so I go really slow over areas that I can see is a little bit damp. Push it. Let's go over some grass here. Yeah, see, going over the grass is not an issue at all for the bike. Back to the gravel here. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, so if you're one that actually likes doing this type of riding, yeah, take a look at this bike. I think you might like it. I think the big fat tires give you the confidence. Hey, if you tried to do this with like a commuter bike, man, forget it. Forget it. You need a fat tire bike to do stuff like this. All right, back on the major roads. Let's see, motorized vehicles prohibited. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Of course, we're not technically the type of motorized vehicles they're talking about. They're talking about dirt bikes, typically, when you see signs like that. But check with your local area. If find out what they allow and don't allow. But we see a lot of people with e-bikes trying to do stuff like this. Anyway, if you're interested in a bike like this, definitely take a look at my affiliate link and get yourself one of these things. If not, there's plenty of other models from Himiway to take a look at. They make a good bike, nice and strong, reliable.